listen to your body and to tune into your body and sense really what it's telling you, because there is wisdom there. Stand up for myself. Let me speak up when the knee told me that he had bad news and that they had found like cancerous cells. Like, I didn't really believe.
I think the biggest epidemic in the world that we're facing right now is people playing small.
Exactly. And I think my soul was suffocating. Through the illness, I was able to crack open my shell that I had.
Hey guys, this is Coach KP, and today I have a special guest in our Paradigm Shift podcast episode. Her name is Vanina Pitsch. She's a mindset coach, a mindfulness facilitator, public speaker, and the executive contributor with Brainz Magazine. She's the founder of GloWell Coaching, and she does mindfulness coaching that is aimed at bringing empathy and mindfulness into organizations and supporting professionals in their career and their lives so they can evolve to their next level status. She's certified as a personal and professional coach from Concordia University. She offers a variety of different coaching packages and organizes online wellness events, as well as urban wellness retreats for professionals and organizations. So let's welcome Vanina to our show here. And we will get to talk to Vanina about her experience as a coach. We will talk about Vanina's journey today, about how she beat cancer and is thriving in her life and coaching others to carry the mindset that has helped her thrive in her life. Okay, Vanina, how are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you. How are you?
I am doing great. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you for the invitation. I'm really grateful for it.
So there's a lot of good stuff that we're going to talk about today, but I just want to understand how you grew up and where you grew up and what was your upbringing like. Just roughly, if you want to tell our audience, that would be great.
Sure. So I'm essentially half French, half German. So I was born in France, and I actually lived in France until the age of 11 years old, and then moved to Germany to, yeah, live there with my family. We moved as a family to Germany. My dad is German, my mom is French. And anyways, so I ended up living in Germany for 10 years as well. So I really grew up in two countries, which was amazing because I got to learn two different cultures. I
Mhm.
got to speak the two languages, and I also get to learn how to adapt quickly to different environments and really develop that skill. So
So, what was your thought process like when you were a kid growing up in these two cultures? What did you want to become when you grow older?
yeah, so I guess I realized pretty quickly that when interacting with friends, that I always had like this sharp ear where I would always like listen carefully to what my friends would tell me. And if they had like any issues or anything negative happen in their life, I just seemed to be able to provide either a piece of insight, or ask them like specific questions that would help them like reflect on certain things. And back then, I was just a teenager, and I didn't really know what I was doing, but I just seemed to have that ability to listen and bring things up to people's attentions. And I remember my friends telling me that I would be a really good psychologist, and for some reason I kind of like hold on to that, and I was like, oh yeah, that sounds really cool, I could be a psychologist.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you wanted to be a psychologist growing up.
Yes, yes,
Wow,
exactly. Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
amazing. So, since that topic came up, let's talk a little bit about how you have conducted your coaching sessions at GloWell Coaching, and what are your basic pillars of your coaching modality, so to speak?
Yeah, so perhaps I'll start by sharing a little bit of background about my mission. So, my mission is to bring empathy and mindfulness into the workplace, but also work with individuals to help them grow and evolve in their life and career. Now, what I like to focus on in particular is really helping empathetic leaders to set boundaries for themselves,
Mhm.
be able to respect and honor themselves, say no when need be, just because as somebody who's empathetic myself, I know how it is to really lose yourself in wanting to people please and adapt yourself to other people. And oftentimes you don't even recognize that you're doing it because there is a part that's unconscious and a part that's also a little bit conscious. So you start realizing that you're doing that too. So I do focus a lot on the empathy piece, and I like to bring in mindfulness practices and embodiment practices into my coaching sessions as well, because I believe in the holistic approach too.
Hmm. So, if you can tell our audience a little bit about the embodiment part of your work, would be great.
Sure. So usually when we start a coaching session, I really like to help my clients connect to themselves. So if I feel like they're here, but they're not fully there because
Mm.
maybe they're thinking about work or they're just disturbed by something, I will just ask them to close their eyes and to take 3 deep belly breaths just to be able to connect to their inner selves.
Mhm.
And that's what usually works for most of my clients. But sometimes I also do a body scan, and if I feel like I really need to help my clients like connect to the present moment,
Mhm.
or I start with a visualization. It really depends on, who I have in front of me and how their day went, really.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So, got it. So you have a set of these exercises that you do with the coaching clients, so that they're back in their bodies, and they then can use these techniques to go on about their lives, and when they feel off center, use the embodiment practices to come back to the present moment.
Yes, exactly. It's definitely exercises that they can use for their day to day too, but it's really helpful to just get the coaching session started as well. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah.
So, going back to what I shared with our audience earlier about, your fight and victory over cancer. Um, I just want to ask you, what was your view of sickness in general and illnesses, before you had cancer, and how did that change during the course of your journey, your view towards sickness and illnesses?
Yeah. So, you know what? Like, it's funny because before the illness came, I wasn't really preoccupied by illness at all. It's not something I had experienced. In my immediate family, it was fine as well. Although, on my mother's side, there were some mental health issues
Mhm.
in the family, but still, I didn't have that top of mind. It's not something that I looked into. I actually lived a fairly healthy lifestyle too. I ate fairly healthy,
Mhm.
so not much junk food. For sure, there were upgrades that I could do, but I was never somebody who struggled, let's say, with gaining weight or anything like that. And I did go running 3 times a week. I did yoga and things like that. So I thought, yeah, I'm in pretty good shape. Like this was not even top of mind. So I was for
Mhm.
sure very, very surprised when the illness came.
Yeah. So you've always been healthy until sort of that point that you got diagnosed, right?
Yeah.
That's quite something. And so when you heard, could you tell us a little bit about what happened when the doctor first broke this news to you? Were you in denial? For how long? What was going on with you emotionally?
Yeah. Well, it's funny that you asked me that question because I remember when I started to do the exams to find out what happened, or not what happened, but like what was going on with my breast. Um, I didn't even think about cancer at all. Like I thought it was just a cyst that needed to be removed and no biggie. And then, it would be a minor surgery and I would be done with it. And then when I realized that I needed to do more exams to like really figure out what was going on, although I started to be a little bit worried and the word cancer did pop into my head, I was like, yeah, well, there is no way this is there's no way that I would be diagnosed. It's just not possible. I'm young and I'm healthy, really. So I would say, like, while I was waiting for the exams to be done and to receive the results, like up until the moment where I stepped into the doctor's office and the oncologist actually told me that he had bad news and that they had found like cancerous cells, like I didn't really believe that it would actually get to that point. Even when I was sitting in the waiting room on the oncology department and clearly seeing that people had cancer, I still didn't think I had it. So I think it was, yeah, in denial up until that time.
Wow. And was it, was it difficult for you to accept the fact that, okay, here is Vanina, until, this date she was healthy and fine, and now she has breast cancer, right? How did you, what was the shift like?
Oh God, yeah. It's I think that the shift came, but from the moment on I received the news, I still didn't know like how how bad the situation was because I still had to do additional exams. Even after knowing I had breast cancer, we still didn't have enough information to have like a specific diagnosis. And it took like a month to do all of these other exams, like a full body scan and things like that. And so during that time, I think I was still partly in denial. Like I was still hoping that the doctor would tell me, you know what, it was like a mistake. You actually don't have cancer at all. And I was hoping, obviously, I was hoping for the best, but I started to really be fearful too, because I was like, oh my gosh, like, what if
Yeah.
it's really the worst case scenario? What am I going to do, you know?
Yeah.
Um, but I hadn't fully understood yet the situation and I hadn't fully accepted it yet because I didn't have the specific diagnosis. So I think it took a month
Mhm.
um, up until I was told specifically, okay, this is, you know, the specific diagnosis, this is the specific treatment you're going to get. When I knew that a month later, this is when I could like breathe and be like, okay, okay, you know what? I have the diagnosis. I've
Mhm.
been told it's going to take me a year to get through all the treatments that I need to do in the surgery. And then after that, everything should be okay. If things work out, they're supposed to work out with the treatments. So I really started to accept what was happening to me
Mhm.
when I had the plan in hands and I knew what to expect in the next like few months. Yeah.
Mhm. Wow. So from what I'm envisioning was there was this empowered perspective you had around what was happening with your situation, even though you've shared, I've listened to your talk at Mind Valley and again on YouTube. Maybe we could share that with the audience here as well. That was such a powerful talk. You've shared that there were other things in your life that started to fall apart around that time. For example, you lost your job and all these other financial relationship hardships that you had come about, and you, but at the same time, hearing you talk, it never felt like you lost perspective. And I really applaud your strength in that. Not that we have to be strong all the time, but your story is so natural and so relatable to people that have been walking this personal development journey that if I had to ask you, what do you think gave you that strength, like the strength to know that, okay, this is going to be a year, even though I'm here, I don't necessarily have people to physically carry me through this, I'm going to get through this problem?
Yeah, that's a very, very good question. I'm trying to reflect back and see, but I think I really felt this responsibility to take a proactive role in my healing.
Mm,
Although I felt the need to follow the conventional medicine and to do the chemo and the radiation, I also knew that I couldn't just sit on the couch and wait around for good results. Like I just felt as soon as I accepted what I had, I felt like I needed to do something about it. And it just came somehow naturally. And I think it was my way to feel like I was in control too. And I
mm,
wasn't at the mercy of the treatments,
mhm,
that I also could do something on my own
mhm,
that really empowered me in a way to really feel like maybe I can control the situation.
mhm,
Although it was out of my control, but when you do take like action steps
mhm.
towards your health, it feels like you're helping yourself in a way. um
Yeah, it feels
yeah.
almost like you're doing what you can at the moment, and you're doing it to the best of your abilities.
Yes, exactly. And I think I went with that mindset into the situation to say, I'm going to do the best that I can to position myself well. I
Mm,
don't want to look back and regret that I didn't do certain things that I could have done to help myself.
mhm,
And let alone to not feel sick during chemo, right? Because I had heard a lot of stories where people that do chemo, they're struggling, they're out of breath, they're tired all the time, they feel nauseous, they're lying in bed, they can't do much. um, I didn't want to experience it in that way. I wanted to be able to go about my day and do things and work towards my purpose also that I was trying to look for during that time as well.
mm.
Yeah.
So obviously this entire experience evolved you as a person, and I would imagine this evolved your coaching as well. And
Yes.
how did your experience evolve your coaching?
Yes. So it evolved my coaching because through the illness, I was able to crack open my shell that I had.
Wow.
I I had a shell. And I realized that, you know, years later, but I've had a protective shell. I've been wearing masks at work and in my personal life, and I've always struggled to show my emotions and be vulnerable as well.
Mm,
And I think with the illness, I just couldn't hide anymore because everyone saw that I was sick. I had lost all of my hair, my eyebrows, and my eyelashes. I couldn't hide anywhere. And so for me, I was very vulnerable during that time. And I promised myself that I would also never stay in the shadows again because I had realized that I had made myself too small before. And now I really wanted to step, into my light and do things that I wanted to do. And the way that actually reflects into the coaching practice is that I'm able to show up and be myself and also be vulnerable when need be.
yeah.
But most importantly, I'm able to connect to myself. I'm able to tune into my body and get into my body,
Yeah.
like not just be in the head
Mhm,
and think, oh, what's the next question I need to ask?
mhm.
What's the methodology that I learned in coaching? you know I
Yeah.
can actually be in my body and feel and get intuitive nudges and be present and really listen fully, right?
Yes.
um so that's how it's impacting my coaching
Yeah,
sessions.
that's powerful because what you said there about playing small. Like, I think the biggest epidemic in the world that we're facing right now is people playing small.
Yeah.
And it takes a certain type of diligence you do on yourself, and you either get help or the universe finds a way to for you to reach out to get help. Like, there's no other way if we continue to play small, especially after we realize what is possible. And if we continue doing that, then the universe has a way to show you that this needs to be done. And in your case, I was just trying to imagine you without hair and all that, and that's tough, right? That's like, I don't have any hair. I haven't had hair in a long time, but I will tell you that's tough. It's tough.
Yeah.
So I am so glad that your shell cracked open there, and that was such a vulnerable thing to share here, because a lot of us are under this mask that we're either trying to be everything but who we are, right? We're trying to be this perfect thing that we see on TV, find out on Instagram, and we're beating ourselves up for not being that. But the real us that's behind that wall is just hurting to come out.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
We're hurting to come out and play.
Yeah, exactly. And I think my soul was suffocating for so long, and I just wanted to expand and just be, and just let me show up the way I want to show up. Let me express myself the way I want to express myself. Let me stand up for myself. Let me speak up when the need is there.
Yeah.
Stop crushing me and like pretending to be somebody else, or adapting your speech to someone else because you're afraid to be rejected by them, because you're afraid to hurt them if you were to speak your truth. But
Right.
I'm not me, I'm somebody who's very empathetic. So, but that's why I made myself smaller, because I feel and understand people's emotions. And so the slightest discomfort that I knew I would potentially bring up to the surface,
Mhm.
even if it wouldn't be comfortable for the other person, but me just fearing that it might be uncomfortable for the other person, I
Mhm.
wouldn't then speak my truth, because I didn't want to feel the discomfort that they would feel. That's what an empath feels. So
Mhm.
then you're avoiding conflict, you're avoiding speaking your truth, and it becomes at a huge detriment in the long run if you're not letting your soul express yourself. Your divine soul just wants to speak and be and shine and
Mhm.
show who you are to other people, so you can build authentic and deep relationships with others, so they can see who you are. Otherwise, you're not going to have real relationships with people.
Wow. That is so powerful what you just said there about, how empaths get impacted by external stimuli, and how, I have this theory, Vanina, that maybe we can talk about it at a later time, but
Yeah,
I think that 90% of the world is empathetic, or an empath. They just haven't found out that they are empaths,
right.
right?
Yeah.
So many of us try to avoid certain situations because it's like, okay, we don't want to trigger this other person, or we feel like, and even worse, we feel like we may threaten this other person, so we play small, but in actuality, it's all in our head.
Yes. Yes, exactly. You know, we're afraid to take our full space and claim our space, because we believe that we will potentially step on other people's toes, or somebody's not going to be happy with it. But
Mhm.
it's your space to claim. As long as you are not taking somebody else's space, there is no problem. But it's very legitimate for you to take up your space and have a seat at the table and have a voice at work or at home or in the bedroom or whatever, anywhere. You have to,
Yeah,
there is
yeah,
your space
yes, yeah,
to
yeah,
be claimed.
yeah.
Um, but we tend to step back and make ourselves smaller.
Yeah, yeah. We tend to step back, or we tend to take this other route where we are at such an extreme that we want to trample everyone that's walking around, because it's so much easier to do that than to feel your feelings,
Yeah,
right? So
yeah,
it's just such extremes that we experience in this world today. And thank you so much for sharing that. That piece is a big part of the journey, especially of people that are, on my channel, as we are looking to grow and be radically self-accepting. this is a bridge that everybody has to cross. Is okay, all right, you know what, I'm going to risk making other people uncomfortable. I'm not going to do that. I'm not, this is not my intention, but I have to be me.
Yeah.
Right, that's a big jump for people to take. And once you take that jump, and you're deep in your emotions, and you're deep in that conversation, and you're deep in that relationship, then that becomes authentic.
Exactly. And as long as you're considerate about the other person in front of you, and it's all about the way you bring things up and how you communicate as well. So there is, a way to be you, and also ensure you're not gonna like hurt the other person. Now, you're not responsible for the other person's feelings, but you can be considerate in the way you're communicating. So
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, sometimes, as empowering as social media is, sometimes these posts that I see on Instagram about personal space is so jarring to like actually see, oh, you these posts that say something along the lines of, oh, you don't need anybody, you just love yourself and you'll be good. That's good in a way, but the pendulum at that point is swung so far on the other side that you probably not ever live in a society if you continue in that path.
yeah.
So to be able to have relationships is the goal of spirituality, right? That's the journey. And I think sometimes it gets missed, but at the same time, I think all in all, we have evolved. I think over the last many years, even social media, YouTube, it's gotten a lot about becoming a better version of yourself, and for that, I'm grateful.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this totally resonates with me too.
Yeah. All right, Vanina. So let's go back and talk just a little bit about your GloWell coaching product offerings, so that people that are on my channel, if they want to reach out to you, what can they expect from what can they expect from you in terms of help?
Yes, for sure. So I offer different services. I mean, one of them is one-on-one coaching.
Mhm.
So I offer coaching services to help people, obviously, find answers to their own questions. And as long as, you're willing to be honest with yourself and look into yourself and not be in denial of things, you'll be a good person to work with, because you have to be honest with yourself, and you have to be okay looking at things objectively as well as they arise. So for the coaching, for sure, I can help professionals in life and career. I can help professionals that are empathetic to help them set boundaries, etc.
Mhm.
I do bring in my mindfulness activities as well to ensure that people can connect to themselves.
Mhm.
But people that are working with me, they can definitely know that they're going to walk away with a specific action plan, because that's what coaching is all about, right? You
Yes.
walk away with a specific action plan, and I'm here to act as your accountability partner, to hold the space for you, to reflect back things at you, and to raise things up as they come to the surface if I feel like it's something that you may need to look at. So that's what coaching is all about.
Mhm.
And then in terms of public speaking engagements, for sure,
Yeah.
I want to, or I work with organizations as well, and individuals like you for a podcast to share my story, or to talk about certain mindset and mindfulness topics, and
Mhm.
also talk about empathy and how to bring that into the workplace.
Okay, that's amazing. And I thank you for your time, Vanina. I just have one last thing I wanna ask you. Is there any message, any one-liner, or anything that you want to give to our audience, that sort of all of the knowledge that you've gathered so far, and at this moment, what's coming to you, that's distilled out of all of what you've gathered so far?
Yes. um
It's a hard question, so
yeah.
yeah.
You know what, I think that I would want people to walk away with the message that it's important to listen to your body and to tune into your body and sense really what it's telling you, because there is wisdom there. And when you're not in alignment with your soul's purpose, or if you're not being true to yourself, at some point it will manifest itself into your body. And for you to be aware of that and to see the red flags, you have to be sensitive to your body sensations. But that means connecting to your inner self and to tuning into your body and moving from being in the head to the heart and to the body, so you can have that wisdom and that awareness arise, so you can take the gold nuggets, the insights that are being shared from your body, and then do something with it, right? Because the wisdom is all there, and as long as you're connected to your body, there's no reason as to why you should be getting sick.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
so powerful. Thank you so much, Vanina. And this has been a great call. I hope my audience can connect with you at some point if they choose to do so. I will provide links to your website and to your talk eventually, as you put it out on your YouTube channel for the rest of my audience to see. And yeah, this has been a great talk. Thank you so much. Is there anything you want to share?
Well, perhaps I can just say that if people would like to receive like some tools and tips around how to ground yourself as an empath, or how to bring that into the workplace, I am writing articles for the Brainz Magazine, so you can find me on the Brainz Magazine as
Oh,
long as you.
I'll put that link down below
Okay.
as well. Yes, yeah,
Yes, yes.
yeah. We can connect on that. And before I publish,
Perfect.
I could definitely do that.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
excellent.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah,
yeah.
thank
All
you.
right. All right. So that concludes today's episode. And that's Vanina, and this is Coach KP signing off. Peace.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.